Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Methodist Hospitals Foundation's virtual event, Promises. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am Val Warner of ABC 7 Chicago, and it is my honor to serve as your MC for tonight's program. The proceeds will support the incredible work taking place at Methodist Hospitals, an independent, nonprofit community hospital that has been serving Northwest Indiana for almost 100 years. I join many others in applauding Methodist Hospitals and its staff, its heroes, for the many, many ways it has taken care of COVID-19 patients and provided support to their families during this pandemic. In fact, last year, at the height of the pandemic, many local businesses recognized the efforts of Methodist Hospitals and demonstrated their trust in the work being done with their generosity. We wish to thank two of those valued partners now that are supporting Methodist Hospitals again this evening. They are Crothall Healthcare, a Compass One healthcare company, which we recognize tonight as our title sponsor for its substantial ongoing support of Methodist Hospitals events, and United States Steel Gary Works, the premier sponsor for this evening and a community partner whose investment in Methodist COVID-19 efforts allowed the hospital to help so many patients. I'd like to share a brief message from United States Steel Gary Works with you right now. Take a look.
Steel is strong. It's the backbone of America. But steel doesn't become steel without people. Our people are strong. They embody the American spirit, a never-quit attitude that has seen us through every great challenge we've faced together as a nation. The steel they make built this great country, and it will build our future. To our people, we salute and thank you. You are strong as United States Steel.
On behalf of the Methodist Hospitals Board of Directors, the Foundation Board, and the administration, a big thank you to United States Steel Gary Works and Crothall Healthcare for your continued belief in the mission of the hospital. Work during the pandemic may have overshadowed the countless ways the hospital has sustained its promise to take care of many people in the region that have other medical needs. That is why we are simply calling this evening's program Promises. That is a promise of service to the community and a promise of caring for the community so that everyone can become healthier together. Here is a symbol of what those promises mean to Methodist Hospitals.
Healthier together means keeping our promise to our community to attract dedicated, passionate healthcare professionals committed to bringing quality healthcare to Northwest Indiana, to create a culture of excellence dedicated to delivering the very best care every day, to pioneer advanced treatments to improve outcomes, to fulfill our mission to deliver quality, compassionate healthcare to all those in need. Promises made, promises kept. Methodist Hospitals.
When we look beyond the pandemic, Methodist, as a safety net hospital, has continued to provide care to everyone, regardless of diagnosis, personal or financial circumstances. It has been able to do so with the support of many who joined them in the fight against COVID-19 when an increased need for resources became urgently apparent. However, while the healthcare needs today may look different than in the past, the truth is the medical needs of the majority of people have remained the same. This has reminded Methodist Hospitals of its pledge to continue providing quality healthcare to everyone and to stand firm in keeping that pledge. That is why tonight is so important, because it takes resources to keep promises. It takes resilience to continue serving. It takes commitment to continue touching the lives of many in a meaningful and impactful way. Methodist Hospitals is more than a hospital. It is an anchor in the community that it shares with its patients. There is no better way for one to believe this than to hear the words of someone whose family members over the decades have been touched by Methodist Hospitals. Let me read a few words from a letter to you. Dear Methodist Hospitals Administrator, My name is Arlene Lyons, and I am a Gary resident. I just want to say that I feel like I am a member of the Methodist
Hospital's family. You see, I was born in Methodist Hospital at the North Lake campus in Gary 65 years ago. All three of my children were born there as well. And my father, mother, eldest sister, and my youngest brother all drew their last breaths on earth in Methodist hospitals. As a matter of fact, last August, before my brother passed, I saw you on the ICU floor where he was cared for. I was made aware of your presence. The staff was bustling. They continued their usual orderly conduct, ensuring that all of the ICU patients were taken care of, working like a well-oiled machine that I think Methodist is known for. That is just one reason I like to think of myself as a Methodist Hospital's community family member. I want you to know that your hospital goes above and beyond to create a welcoming atmosphere for those entering the hospital doors. That goes for the entire staff, the emergency room staff, nurses, janitorial staff, food service, intake, security, front desk. That is so very important when one is stressed by the illness of a loved one. Your hospital always kept its promise to our family. You take care of patients and you take care of families.
That is what promises made, promises kept truly looks like and sounds like when we think about the many lives Methodist Hospitals has helped heal. But changing lives and creating healthier communities requires support. That is why we are all here tonight. I will share with you more later about how you can join Friends of Methodist who, through their generosity, have demonstrated their belief in the promise of service that Methodist is keeping. Big thanks once again to our event's title sponsor, Crothall Healthcare, and our premier sponsor, United States Steel Gary Works. Also, we thank our gold sponsor, McLennan and Bain Insurance. Silver sponsors, Cap Trust, Hodges and Davis PC, Matthew and Cynthia Doyle, Northwest Indiana Radiology Services PC, Mr. and Mrs. Patrick A. Salvi. Our bronze sponsors, Andrew and Nancy Draper, Hubinger Landscaping Corporation, John R. McLennan Scott and Nadine Ribberty, Pathology Consultants Incorporated, Judy T. Lindsay, the Pangier Corporation, UMR, a United Healthcare Company, and all of our valued donors.
Good evening, everyone. I join Val Warner in welcoming you this evening. I am Gary Miller. Slightly more than 10 years ago, I had the privilege of serving as the first president of the Methodist Hospitals Foundation Board of Directors. I have remained a member of the board because of my respect for the hospital's achievements and my belief in the many ways it has served the citizens of Northwest Indiana over the decades. A few moments ago, you heard words about one family's experience as seen through the eyes of an appreciative grandmother, someone whose family's connection to Methodist symbolized the hospital's pledge to serve. Such testimonies have inspired my own commitment to continue serving on the foundation board over the years. When the idea of establishing a charitable foundation for Methodist was proposed, I realized that my fellow board members and I had a big task ahead of us to secure support for the programs and services that Methodist hospitals pledge to deliver to the community. In keeping with that pledge, Methodist was growing as a nonprofit, independent healthcare system serving Northwest Indiana, a system that has extended in reach further and deeper into the community to meet the healthcare needs of its citizens. I then reflected on what our work as a charitable foundation, when shared with the works of the hospital board, can mean for patients and their families. Together, our two boards could help the hospital build upon its rich history of service that represented the significant milestones it had reached. Milestones such as the 20 doctors that gave $100 each in the early 1900s to equip Methodist's Legacy Hospital in Gary, doctors whose monetary gifts underscored their commitment to serve. The dedication of the Gary Hospital in 1923, almost 100 years ago, that was marked by the opening of its School of Nursing, the admission of more than 2,000 patients, 1,115 surgical procedures, and the delivery of 299 babies. A commendable record for such a young institution in just 1 year. As the decades passed, the emergence of additional services, such as the Lake County's first physical therapy department that in 1947 was established at the height of the polio epidemic, an accomplishment that served as the precursor to the creation of the state's first accredited full-service rehabilitation center later in 1971. And over the years, as Methodist reaffirmed its commitment to serve the region, the opening up of a second hospital campus in Maryville in 1975, while maintaining its promised presence in Gary. I could go on, but I must pause at this point. Just as Methodist Hospital paused last year when the pandemic confronted us all. However, that pause was ever so brief as the hospital expanded its operation to serve those affected by COVID-19 while keeping its promise to take care of everyone, pandemic or not. Methodist hospitals face the COVID-19 journey with conviction, but the journey to serve everyone continues today.
Yes, Gary, the journey continues, a journey that clearly demonstrates what Methodist Hospitals has always done well, and that is keep its promises. I am Heather McCarthy, the second and current board president of the Methodist Hospitals Foundation. I, like Gary, had the pleasure of serving on the board when it was first incorporated, and I remain engaged today because of my high regard for Methodist Hospitals' work, especially the commitment of its staff heroes. In the beginning, I knew that part of our mission would be to help Methodist continue its strong record of service, and to do so would take the support of many. However, none of us imagined just how critical resources would become until the COVID-19 pandemic hit. I witnessed Methodist keep its pledge to serve any and everyone that needed its help, something that continues today. What have I seen in recent times? The opening of 2 immediate care centers, one in Maryville and another in Crown Point. A broadening of the footprint of outpatient services with the establishment of an imaging center in Cherville, where a full range of services, including X-ray, ultrasound, open MRI, and many more are now offered. The newly renovated maternal and infant care centers at the Gary and Methodist hospitals, an important development as Methodist confronts our high rates of infant mortality in the region, and these are just to name a few. But brick and mortar don't breathe, people do. So let me help you see through the brick and mortar accomplishments and envision the lives that were touched this year, such as the more than 1,300 COVID-19 patients that we've cared for, the 1,200 babies that were delivered at our hospitals. And I am happy to report that my son's first child will be delivered at Methodist hospitals this year. The over 9,000 women who receive much-needed mammograms provided by our award-winning breast care center. The 24,000 visits made to homebound patients by our home health nurses. The nearly 6,000 surgeries performed for patients in need. And the 54,000 emergency room visits made by those in the community whose conditions required immediate medical attention. And even today, as Methodist is keeping its promise, more than 40,000 people have walked through the doors of our vaccination clinics and received their COVID-19 vaccines. Although last year was not an easy journey, Methodist hospitals refused to allow it to become an impossible journey. With the help of many, many community partners, the journey continued and promises were kept. It takes resources to continue the promise, especially given the challenge of the coronavirus, in addition to caring for persons with other medical conditions. Methodist will continue to commit to provide adequate personal protective equipment on hand, along with enough medical supplies to care for all of our patients, specialty equipment such as respirators for pulmonary patients, and life-saving devices such as incubators for our most fragile of newborn babies. State-of-the-art diagnostic and procedural equipment for surgeries. Plus, covering the cost associated with oncology and cardiovascular services, and this is only to name a few. Your generosity tonight will help empower every area of service at Methodist hospitals, and I encourage you to support us in helping Methodist keep its promises.
Earlier this evening, I promised to share the way that you can participate with your support and help Methodist hospitals during these uncertain times continue taking care of all people with any and all medical needs. So, I asked you to take a moment and view the screen that has information on how you can give to Methodist hospitals. Heather McCarthy just shared with you the number of people who were served by Methodist hospitals just last year, in addition to more than 1,300 COVID-19 patients. This is what keeping a promise is all about. However you are prepared to give, I encourage you to use any of the following ways to do so. To donate, text PROMISES to 243-725. Again, you can text PROMISES to 243-725, or go to the site appearing on the screen right now. There you can make a direct donation and also bid on an array of silent auction items. This site will remain open after tonight's virtual event until 12 noon on Monday, May 10th. Or you can just call the foundation at 219-886-4468. Do it now and anytime after tonight. That number is always available now and anytime into the future.
Earlier this evening, you heard the grateful words of a family member whose respect for Methodist is most heartening. Well, I have a confession. I received that letter and was the first to lay eyes on those words, which quite honestly gave me a reason to pause. Not because I didn't appreciate those expressions of thanks, but because the letter made me slow down and think about what we do at Methodist, why we do it, and for whom. Ours is a collective, singular focus on serving. That means being servants to a community where we want everyone to be healthier together. You see, we share the community with our patients and therefore consider those we serve as members of the Methodist family. Just like the grateful grandmother who wrote the letter that I received. And as I have reread that letter several times, I have come to view it as a testament to the spirit of the one Methodist promise, a message that symbolizes the work of a staff that turns promises into realities, staff who are hard, committed workers, staff who are caregivers, and staff who are heroes, regardless of their position within the hospital. I firmly believe that crisis can bring out the best in people, creating a sense of unity and clarity of purpose, all for the greater good. While we experienced what appeared to be unimaginable circumstances last year, I saw the best of the human spirit exhibited by our physicians, staff, community friends, and businesses that stepped forward with donations of personal protective equipment, N95 masks, hand sanitizer, food, and gifts for our staff, even before we asked. And in the background, our physicians and staff continued to care for everyone. Pandemic or not, I never saw complacency. I only witnessed strength of commitment. For me, as a leader, it is not just about policies and procedures, but making sure that we always lead with mission, a mission that remains alive and every day reflects the promises we are keeping and intend to keep for years to come. So, as we continue to keep our promise, as well as cling to the hope that the pandemic soon will become a distant memory, we will continue to make all services available to everyone. I thank those who have supported us and ask others to consider joining them by making a gift this evening. Thank you.
As I write this letter, our family is waiting for our new arrival. My youngest daughter will deliver her first and my 8th grandchild soon. Because she is of a more mature age and this is her first child, understandably, as a family, we're nervous. And I know with COVID, we must all remain vigilant and adhere to safety. However, I want you to know that I have assured my daughter, son-in-law, and other family members that Methodist is a safe place and the place where our new arrival and my daughter will be well taken care of. You see, I witnessed this on the ICU floor when I was there with my brother, and all during the care of my deceased relatives. Thank you, Methodist hospitals. I hope I have not gone on too long. I just want to say what I felt in my heart that I must say. A grateful mother and grandmother, Arlene Lyons.
We love you too. So. Yeah. Goodness, yeah, he's so long. And he was a junior, right? Is that right? I'm almost.
What more can be said except a picture is worth 1,000 words? But in our case, the images you have seen this evening of Methodist's dedicated staff, as well as this grateful family, clearly says more than 1,000 words. They reveal what happens when a hospital always leads with its mission and serves with its integrity and compassion to create a healthier community, something that Methodist Hospitals has been doing for almost 100 years. Join others who are keeping the promise alongside Methodist Hospitals with their gifts. I truly hope that tonight's program has moved you to a point of readiness to give. Your generosity will help provide much needed support for the programs and services that Methodist Hospitals offers to everyone who reaches its doors in need. So, as we close out this evening, once again, I encourage you to use any of the following ways to give. To donate, text to give, promises to 243-725. Again, you can text promises to 243-725 or go to the site which appears on the screen. There you can make a direct donation and also bid on an array of silent auction items. This site will remain open after tonight's virtual event until 12 noon on Monday, May 10th. Or you can always just call Methodist Hospitals Foundation at 219-886-4468. You can do it now or after tonight. That number is always available, now and any time into the future. Thank you once again to our sponsors and supporters, and for everyone who has joined us tonight. Have a wonderful evening.